Hi Year 9 biologists. This week what we're going to do is we're going to review our summer term assessment 1. So there are some of you who need to do a lot more work than others, but there is going to be a Google quiz on the classroom that I hope will be able to cover all of your needs. Now, this video we'll go through all of the questions and we'll go through the answers themselves. And for anyone that's joining us, these are the typical types of questions that you would expect to have Year 9 biologists be able to do for CIE Biology iGCSE. So without any further ado, let's go into the questions themselves. So the first question, which is not a characteristic, movement, growth and reproduction are characteristics, so the answer to the first question is breathing. For the second question, what you need to do is you need to get the length in the drawing, which is 12 millimeters, and you need to divide that by the actual length of the ant, which was 6 millimeters, and you should get a magnification of ×2. There are no units for magnification. The third question, the genus of the binomial name is the first name, and it's got a capital as well. So the answer to that was Panthera. The difference between cells of bacteria, and cells of plants is that cells of bacteria do not have a nucleus. The next question, which structure controls the movement of substances into and out of a cell? The answer to that is cell membrane. Next question, which structure is an organ out of human being, which is an organism, liver cell, which is a cell, onion epidermis, which is a tissue, and plant leaf, that last answer, plant leaf, is the organ. Group of organs working together to perform bodily functions is an organ system. Plasmolysis is what the question is describing, cytoplasm and cell membrane shrinking and pulling away from the cell walls. This reduces the turgid pressure. You can call it turgidity, turgid pressure. Active transport is movement of substances up a concentration gradient, not down a concentration gradient, and it also requires energy from respiration. Nitrate ions into a root hair cell is a dead giveaway for an example of active transport. The vertebrate group for the longer response answers, the vertebrate group that contains lizards are reptiles. So what you can do is you can go through the video and you can use these examples A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can have a go at the identification of the species. The order for the answers should be B in this top one over here, then you should have G, then C, then A, then E, and then finally F. Definition of osmosis, movement or diffusion of water. That's the first mark, high water potential to a low water potential, or you could say down a water potential gradient. And the third mark, across a partially permeable membrane. You must make sure that you get those key points across. And also they must be made very clearly. So what you may think as being clear may not necessarily be what the standard is that's requiring you to be a bit more clearer. So be very, very clear when you're giving these definitions. For potato sticks left in different concentrations, the prediction we should make of which of the liquids would cause the largest decrease in mass of a potato stick. Well, if you think about it, the one which is most concentrated in solute on the outside, the 1 mole per decimeter cubed of sodium chloride solution would have would have the largest amount of water being lost from the cells in the potatoes in the sticks of the potatoes. The students had to dry them to make sure that they removed the water from the outside and make sure that that water did not add to the masses before they placed them on the electronic balance. This was an experiment that we did in class. Soft and floppy potato sticks, they've lost water by osmosis. Whenever you are asked a question which requires osmosis as an answer, always say what osmosis is as well, okay? Don't just say osmosis and then assume that that will answer everything, okay? Then say that, so once you say osmosis, or if you just imply that they've lost water, you have to then say from high water potential to low water potential, or you could say it's down the water potential gradient. You can then say, as a result of this, the the cells themselves. So the impact on the cells was that the cells were plasmolyzed, became flaccid. The pressure inside decreased, and there was not enough pressure of that water pushing on the insides of the cell walls, and that caused there was a reduction of turgidity, and that's the reason why the cells became they become floppy, and the potato stick overall became soft and floppy too. So pause, evidence, explanation, really useful here. When you boil a potato, the proteins are denatured when they're cooked. So the cell membrane is completely destroyed. It's completely destroyed, and they have no control over what can move in or out of the cell. So as a result of that, no osmosis will take place. Now, for this question, you need to actually identify a feature that was visible. Okay, so there was a lioness. It is a mammal, but you needed to identify a feature that you could actually see. So no going into this question thinking I'm going to describe the fact that this lioness has a uterus, has a womb, because you can't see it. It's not on the outside. Fur was a good answer. Now you could say that the lioness does have teats or nipples or breasts for breastfeeding. That's absolutely fine. Interesting features also with mammals is that they have external ears. So they've got ears like this called pinna, and ear flaps. You can accept it. If you can't remember the word pinna, just say, oh, they've got flappy ears. Flappy ears will get you the mark, believe it or not. So, feature not visible in the picture that has just preceded this question. You can talk about the young, the fact that they develop in the uterus. Sweat glands. Sweat glands are actually a feature of mammals as well. You can talk about what how the actual young are fed. They're fed with milk. You can talk about the fact that they've got 4 types of teeth. You can even name them: incisors, canines, molars, premolars. That's a feature of mammals themselves. Some very unique ones as well, I must say. Mammals have 3 bones in their ear, and also male members of the mammalian group have testes that are on the outside. There, I've said it. Okay, so they've got external testes. It was followed by a very straightforward question: 4 levels of organization: cell to tissues to organ system. And it must be in that order because the question asked you to give the order from the smallest to the largest. Viruses are not part of any classification system because they have they're missing one of the essential characteristics that you would associate with living organisms. Movement, reproduction, sensitivity, growth, respiration, excretion, and nutrition. They can only replicate themselves. They can only reproduce once they actually have a host cell that they can enter. We are very, very familiar with this, I hope, with the COVID pandemic. And finally, a very nice question to finish the test: 2 factors that can affect the rate of diffusion and therefore the movement of molecules through membranes: distance, temperature, and concentration gradient. This is when we actually had the cubes that were made from agar jelly, and we examined those cubes and we examined how quickly they diffuse into the liquid that was available. So that was a really nice experiment for us to do. That's it. That's the whole of it's a whistle-stop tour through your Biology Summer Term Assessment 1. Now you'll be able to go off and review your work as well. I will have sent you the answers again just to remind you, and look forward to receiving back some of the reflections that you have put together. Take care, stay safe, Year 9 biologists. Bye for now.